In today's video we'll be looking at exactly why you should be excited for Rian Johnson's Star Wars Episode VIII. Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens, was a return to form for the franchise, one which marked the beginning of a new era for the series that had once captured the imagination of an entire generation. As you can imagine, after the unmitigated disaster of the prequel films, there was a lot riding on this movie, not only financially and critically, but also culturally. With this movie, director JJ Abrams had to effectively plug a generational gap, satisfying both old fans and potential new ones. In order to do this, he borrowed heavily from the first ever Star Wars movie, creating a film that had essentially the exact same 3-act structure, but with new characters and environments. And it worked. The film was a hit with critics and fans alike, and signalled the rebirth of the franchise. Despite the fact that, to me at least, it felt uninspired, I understand that this kind of homage was a necessary step in convincing everybody that Star Wars was now in capable hands. The hands of somebody who understood what made the original movies so great. But imitation is a far cry from innovation. Now that the safe hands reassurance has been given, Star Wars can finally enter exciting new territory. And what really excites me the most about the upcoming Episode VIII is the choice of director, Rian Johnson. Now, like many, I was first exposed to Johnson's style in his directorial debut movie Brick. For those of you who haven't seen it, Brick is an excellent film, a neo-noir hard-boiled detective thriller that draws heavily from the literary works of Dashiell Hammett and other neo-noir movies such as Chinatown. What becomes apparent immediately from Brick's quite frankly masterful opening sequence is that Johnson is very much a director with a highly stylized visual language, one that can capture audience attention as well as any monologue or exposition. This is something Zack Snyder also does extremely well. But unlike Snyder, Johnson doesn't let his style overwhelm his substance. Visually, Johnson borrows a lot from other movies, but does so via tone rather than a direct shot-for-shot recreation, and thus is able to avoid from becoming derivative. In making Brick, it must have been tempting to reconstruct the iconic visual language of the legendary cinematographer John Alton, who practically invented the look and feel that we associate with film noir today. But Johnson avoided Alton's style, while at the same time achieving Alton's mood, by using muted colours and wide, desolate spaces. Johnson is also known for making his actors watch certain movies in order to inform their performances. When making Brick, for example, he made his actors read Dashiell Hammett in order to give them a sense of traditional hard-boiled fiction, but he made them stay away from film noir movies, instead asking them to watch classic comedies such as The Apartment and His Girl Friday. Again, Johnson here is trying to avoid any surface connection between his work and the movies that inspire it. I could spend hours talking about his effective use of visual language and the clever execution of inspiration in the movie Looper and the best episode of Breaking Bad, Ozymandias, which he also directed. But I've already veered into the weeds here, so let's talk Episode VIII. Now, in the tradition of the original trilogy, many are expecting Episode VIII to be much darker than its predecessor, but understanding Johnson, who also wrote this movie, is understanding that he will do his utmost to avoid such an obvious parallel. In an interview with Collider, actor Adam Driver, who plays the nefarious Kylo Ren, says something both interesting and to some degree expected when talking about Johnson's script. He says, "It's great. It's similar to how The Empire Strikes Back has a different tone. For that, people always go, ooh, it's dark, but I don't know that it necessarily is. It's just different in tone in a way that I think is great and necessary, but also very clear. He trusts that his audience is ready for nuance and ambiguity. He's not dumbing anything down for someone, and that's really fun to play." This gives a great insight into what we can expect from the movie, confirming what we addressed before, that Johnson can translate and convey tone without resorting to imitation, meaning that it's unlikely we'll see any beat-for-beat narrative similarities between this movie and The Empire Strikes Back, but we will feel the same way we did when we first saw that movie. Not that the film is necessarily necessarily darker, but that its characters will be forced to change forever in ways they may not want or expect. Johnson himself speaks about the movie, saying, "You come into it with feelings of deep nostalgia, but then you realise your responsibility ultimately is to get beyond that very quickly and ultimately tell a story that feels alive right now." Johnson again asked his actors to watch specific movies prior to shooting Episode VIII. These films were 12 O'Clock High, The Bridge on the River Kwai, 3 Outlaw Samurai, Letter Never Sent, Gunga Din, and Sahara. All of these movies share quite a few things in common, with war being particularly prevalent throughout, but perhaps the most significant aspect that binds these films together is that of a small band of comrades coming together to defeat or face overwhelming odds. Peck's bombers in 12 O'Clock High, the POWs of Kwai, and even the trapped miners of Kalatozov's Letter Never Sent all must band together to succeed, and in doing so, focus is placed on the relationship between our heroes rather than the spectacle of war itself. Rian Johnson's Episode VIII, while undoubtedly grand in scale and ambition, will also provide a deeply intimate experience, perhaps more so than we've yet seen from the galaxy far, far away. I don't know about you, but I'd say that the future definitely looks bright. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. My name's Dom, and I'll see you again soon.